Alright, what's up guys? I'm you with another UTorial today. Today we're going to be doing the Floating Steve. It goes by a bunch of other names, but that's just what I'm going to call it for the purpose of this tutorial. And just to help with the tutorial, you may or may not be able to see it. We'll see if it comes out in post, but I've lit up the top end of my wand. So you can tell the top from the bottom whenever it's going down my body. To begin with, this is what the Floating Steve looks like. And that's it. Basically what happens is the wand comes up around my wrist, flows down my arm, around my neck, and back up my other arm, right? And so the whole idea of this, usually with the contact staff, the staff is rolling right here. So it will roll all the way down here, carry its momentum, and you'll be able to bring it right back up your other arm. Unfortunately, since we have the string supporting the wand, we won't be able to have it roll in the same way. So what we're doing is sort of mimicking it by dragging it along that path on our body. However, the one similarity is that it still has to be going downhill for this to work. Whenever I go up, notice how I start all the way up here, and whenever I end, whenever I end, it's coming around and it ends down here, right? So it's a height difference right here. And that height difference is really going to make it a lot easier for you to do this trick because it will basically be sliding downhill. To begin with, we're going to start with the whatever grip you have. I'm using a palm grip today, UltraKnob. I'm holding it just above the wand, and I'm using my left hand, my off hand, to grab the top end of the wand. Essentially, the important part here is that you grab in front of the string towards the top end, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up and around and swing it around my wrist, okay? So this is the bottom end coming up around my wrist. And what's gonna happen is once that comes around, I let go and it slides so that the bottom end is pointing towards you when it gets in my elbow crease, okay? So one more time, that looks like this. Up and around, slide down here, okay? So whenever you're first practicing it, you might wanna catch it in your elbow crease like that, like I did whenever I first showed you. But the goal in the end is to have it come around so that the back end is pointing towards you whenever it's right here against your neck. That way, whenever you go into the second part, which is going around behind your neck, you can use the tension of the string to pull the wand against your neck and bring it around, right? So just that step, how you can practice it, you can start here against your neck and you can just pull it so that it comes around. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Whenever it comes to the other side, it's going to try to either hit your string, it's going to try to hit your shoulder, or it's going to do like I just did and come up too high and hit you in the face. So what's really important here is getting it real nice and level here against your neck, so that whenever it comes around the other side, it comes around level and it clears your bicep and your forearm. Okay? So those two steps together look like this. Right? So I just went into the third step a little bit, and what that looks like is this. Okay? So what's happening here is whenever you go around your neck, what's going to happen is you're going to give it a little pull right here on the handle, and what that will do is it'll bring it down your bicep, and so that it comes in contact with your forearm. Okay? So whenever it comes in contact with your forearm, basically it's pivoting just like the other pivot points. So the first pivot point is going to be your wrist right here. Notice how it uses that wrist to block it on one side of the string, which gives it rotation to bring it down and around. So first one is your wrist, rotation by pushing on it with your wrist, okay? Wrist, and then your neck does the same thing because it's pushing on one side of the wand, makes it rotate. Now, this is the tricky one. Whenever you bring it down here, you're going to have to give it a pull with the string to make it come down. And what's happening here is I'm going to use my forearm as the third and final pivot point. So I'm going to pull it, and it's going to come up and around. Now don't worry if it sort of loses grip on your arm at first. You can fix that with practice. It's all about directing the momentum with your forearm. Oops. Okay. One way to practice that last step is you can start right here in your neck, or on the wand hand side of your neck, And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a pull, use my forearm, bring it up and around. And you can just practice that over and over again so that whenever you do the full thing, you'll be able to do that no problem. Last thing about that third and final move is that whenever I'm bringing it around, it's not just dragging it and letting it go, because then it just ends up off your arm. And what I'm trying to do is trying to end up holding the wand. So what I can do to make that happen is I can pull it down, and then instead of just dropping my arm entirely, I'm going to do like sort of like a figure 8 motion in the air. I don't know if that's quite what the shape is, but it looks like this. So I'm basically doing like one of these, right? And what that'll do is it'll bring it up and around my wrist so that it ends in my hand whenever it's at the bottom. This is a really cool move to do in and of itself, but there are some really cool places that you can go after you do it. One thing that I like to do before I do anything else is learn it both ways, forwards and backwards. So it's essentially the same thing except just in reverse, right? So we're here, we do the whole thing, we're like, da da da, floating Steve, magical, and then we go back, right? And then we're here. So what you can do is once you go there and back, bam, and then going back, and I'm here, you can do a floor plane palm spin and bring it around. Now the key there is to just dodge your forearm like I just didn't do, but you can do that after a lot of practice. Another thing that you can do is getting into it. I like to get into it from isolations. So you're here, and then you can do a throw like that. Oh, sorry. You can just like twist it like that, bring it around, and then go straight into your Steve. It was a little sloppy, but I think you get the point. Bam. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about it, or if you come upon any cool variations that you want to post. Definitely tag me in that, because I'd love to see it. Once again, this is you with the UTorial, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Thanks.